How are you? I'm Pia and welcome to the start of a new weekly reading vlog. I haven't done a weekly reading vlog in a while, and if you have seen my previous couple of videos, you know I'm going through a bit of an identity crisis when it comes to YouTube. So I'm going back to basics. I used to do weekly reading vlogs for like years, and then the themed reading vlog kind of took over, but I want to go back to basics. I just want to show you what I'm reading this week. I'm reading some really fun things, so I'm excited to share them with you. But let's get into like a bit of a TBR and what I'm reading for this week. Happy Monday. Okay, so the first book that I will be reading in this vlog, I actually hope to finish today. I'm halfway through it. That is Powerless. So I started this yesterday. I'm like almost 50% through it. I got like through half of it yesterday. And I was gonna start it today for this vlog, but I couldn't wait because I got the loan from my library and I was like, yes. But there's my cat. I am so excited about this book. Like, if you know anything about me, you know I love a good trashy book every once in a while, and this is like the perfect like trashy fantasy romance. It's very fun, very like just like Hunger Games fan fiction, like honestly. But I really like the magic in this book, and I like the enemies to lovers. I'm liking it a lot. I don't know, I'm really enjoying it. Yeah, I'm reading that. I'm halfway through it, so definitely I'm gonna try to finish that today, to be quite honest with you, because I honestly, if I'm being honest with myself, there's a novella and a sequel, and if I'm really hooked on it, I will read that next, maybe. Okay, but I do have some library books that I got recently and that I want to get to hopefully this week. The first is The Rabbit Hutch. I read the synopsis and then I promptly forgot it. It's a stunning debut novel about the quest for transcendence and the desire for love, set in the crumbling apartment building in post-industrial Midwest. That's like not what I remember reading about it. Okay. Provocative tale of loneliness and community, entrapment and freedom. Okay, I remember reading something interesting about this and I don't know what it was. Okay, MFA from NYU, okay. Go off. Anyway, I don't know. I remember reading, I think I read the synopsis on Goodreads when I went to the library, and it sounded interesting to me. I have been in a bit of a literary fiction mood lately, aside from Powerless, of course, but I might be in the mood to pick this up next. That's why my bookmark's in it, because I might start it next. Then I did pick up The Inheritance of Orquídea Divina, which I do own. Now I do own this book. I, as you may or may not know, only have like maybe like 20% of my books with me in Boston. Like the other 80% are actually in storage. So I do have this book in storage, and I saw it at the library and I was like, oh, like I remember reading the first chapter of this for that video where I read the first chapter of all the books on my TBR, and I was like really intrigued by the first chapter. So I figured I'd pick it up. I have like 3 weeks to read it. I'll read it. It's about people coming for an inheritance. That's what that one's about. And then I did pick up Kafka on the Shore again. Always. I keep seeing it and I keep picking it up. Am I gonna read it? I don't know. I want to read it, but the audiobook is not due to come to me for another 4 weeks. So will I get to it? Probably not. Honestly, probably not. But I really do want to read it. That's why I keep picking it up. I'm gonna get Hardboiled Wonderland before I get this one, so I probably should have picked that up, but what are you gonna do? I can always go back to the library. It is my second home. So I don't really have a lot going on this week. When do I ever? This summer is the summer of doing nothing, which is awesome. Love that. So I am going to read more of Powerless. I feel like I didn't even spend that much time reading yesterday, but I got through like half of the book, and it's not like a short book by any means. So I'm going to spend some time reading Powerless, and I don't know. I'm gonna bake something this week. I'm gonna have wine night this week. I'm going to get coffee with a friend tomorrow and going to the Nut Factory in Beacon Hill, which is like my favorite place on the world. I don't know, we have some fun things going on this week. With that being said, let's get into the vlog. Friends, I have a really fun update for you guys because I've finished a book and I finished Powerless, I loved this book. Okay, I didn't think I was like necessarily in the mood for like a fantasy romance, and I definitely wasn't in the mood for a romance in general. Like I was thinking about picking up, I don't know, like One Day or something else that's like been on my TBR, and I just haven't been in the mood for romance or like contemporary romance. So I was really surprised by this book because the romance is like, is it the best part of this book? I don't know, but it's a really strong part of this book. Let me tell you, there is such great like tension and banter. It's like this beautiful slow burn, like literally like it's so great because like nothing happens, like nothing comes to fruition, and it's great for me. I love it because it's just like them like getting to know each other and like just being very playful and like obsessed with each other, which is so fun. So I love that. I also just I really like the plot of this book. Like it's kind of like superheroes meets the Hunger Games. I don't know, isn't it supposed to be like Red Queen? I don't really know the plot of those books, forgive me. I haven't read them, maybe I should. Maybe I should. I just got back from my hot girl walk, so forgive me, I'm really thirsty. It's like this fun, there's like trials, there's balls, there's like powers, but she is powerless. Our main character is powerless. The amount of times powerless is said in this book, I want someone to control F and tell me how many times that fucking word is said. It is so many times, it's like every other page. Every other page, and I'm like, of course this book is called Powerless because the word is used 700 times. It's great. But I really liked it. I gave it 5 stars. I give 5 stars in the same way I gave Fourth Wing 5 stars. I think it's really successful at doing what it's trying to do. And in that way, it's like a 5-star book. And it's really entertaining. Like I was super entertained and invested, and I predicted some things, and some things I saw coming, and other things just made sense, but I didn't necessarily see them coming. And I really liked that. I'm like so sad for the next book. I'm so sad. The way this ended, I was like, yes, sir. Like absolutely obsessed. So I know it just came out, but I do like having the audiobook. So, and it took me like, how long did it take for me to get this audiobook from my library? A long ass time. So I just placed holds on them. We'll see if I can like hold out until I get the audiobooks, or if I'm just gonna download the ebook and call it a day and read it that way. I don't know. I'm not promising anything. Anyway, I have to pick what I want to read next. I'm really in a fantasy mood now. I'm really in a fantasy mood, and the thing I want to read the most, I don't have. I don't want to get the ebook. I really want to read The Rhythm of War, which is the 4th book in the Stormlight Archive series. Maybe it would be silly of me to read that book because I promised myself, I said I'm gonna read The Rhythm of War in the fall, because what is the 5th book called? The 5th book comes out in December. So I was like, I'm gonna wait till closer to that release to read the 4th book, but I want to read it so bad. I want to read fantasy so bad. Let's see what fantasy is on my TBR that I might want to read. The next book I'm going to read is going to be A Natural History of Dragons, because I already have this downloaded, and I've actually been like, as much as I was like scrolling through the audiobooks available at my library, I did have my eye on this book because I downloaded the ebook like a while ago, and it is pitched, or it was pitched to me as a similar style of book to Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, but like dragons instead of fae, which I feel like I would like more. I don't know, we'll see. I think there's like 4 or 5 books in the series, so definitely exciting. Should I be starting a new series right now when I'm already in the middle of so many? Probably not. Probably not. That's gonna be the next book I start. I'm actually so excited to do that. I think I'm gonna probably start it tonight. So we're doing backlit. Just to do a quick update, I did not start A Natural History of Dragons last night. I instead watched Passport to Paris to celebrate the Paris Olympics, and I think it was the best decision I've ever made in my life. I love Mary-Kate and Ashley, as we know. So I'm gonna start A Natural History of Dragons now because I have some time. I was doing some paperwork, which was very confusing, very hard on the brain, but I honestly need more like Ayuta with that because like I don't know what I'm doing. But I have some time now, so I'm gonna read A Natural History of Dragons. I'm hoping it goes well. I'm a little nervous because like I did really like, oh, I even have it here. I really liked the Encyclopedia of Fairies, and this is like a comp, and I'm like, will it be as good? I don't know. So I'm gonna try it now, and I will give you an update when I have an update. it is a lovely Tuesday afternoon, and I have been reading A Natural History of Dragons. I'm like, is that the title of the book? I have been reading that for less than 2 hours. I'm over halfway through it, and okay. I'm not gonna say like I hate this book, this is the worst book I've ever read, I'm never gonna read a book from this author ever again, but I will say it's not like, I don't want to say it's not interesting, that's so mean, but like it's not capturing my attention in a way that I would expect it to. It is very a la Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. It's reminding me also of like Stalking Jack the Ripper and Veronica Speedwell. Those sorts of stories where we have this young woman who is like not allowed to do something in like science because she's a woman, and she just like does it anyway, and she's a girl boss. But like, I've read it so many times and like it's a plight that like I am sympathetic to, of course, like I get it, but it's just like I've read the same exact like carbon copy of a character so many times in just different like magical or like not magical contexts. Like obviously like Veronica Speedwell is like solving mysteries and murders and whatever, and so is Stalking Jack the Ripper, and then Emily Wilde is like magic and fairies and stuff. But like I've read this same character in all of those books, like she's the exact same character. And I do like about this book that's like different is that like, what the fuck is her name? Isabella Trent, Lady Trent. Is that her name? She is like reflecting after all of this has happened. Like this first book is like her first ever like discoveries about dragons, her first like expedition when she was like a much younger girl. Like I think she's like 20 at most, but she's like reflecting as she's like an old woman and she's like retired, and she's like referencing that she's done so many other things and she's so infamous for doing so many other things. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's not working about this book. It's very dry, and I think in the ways that the other books that I'm gonna keep referencing are dry, are more like playful in the way that they're dry. Like their characters are dry, but like she's not only like a dry character, Miss Isabella, it just doesn't feel like a well-rounded story. I want there to be more things that I'm interested in reading about. Like I don't want to just be here for like the dragons and learning about the lore of the dragons, and we're kind of finding out like, oh, like where are these dragons, like why are they doing what they're doing, and like stuff like that. Why are they acting this way? We're not like, there's no side romance, there's no side family drama, there's no little side things going on really, which I think is interesting. I wouldn't do it that way, but it's a choice. Like, I just wish there was more to be invested in. Like, I want to root for the characters, I want to be empathetic towards them, and I want to, like, care about the story rather than, like, the research, which is kind of the story, and that's kind of all that's happening. I don't know, I'm just, like, not very invested. I think it's the characters. I think it's really, like, a flaw in the characters. I don't think the characters are developed very well, less of 50% into the book. So I'm a little bit disappointed right now. As of right now, I don't think I'm gonna continue with the series, which is a real bummer. Not that I need more series to read, but I did an oopsie. I promised myself I wasn't gonna buy more books before I move, because I have to move all these books. And sure, I'm not moving that far, but I do have to pack up all my books. But I got in my head and I was like, I want to read a really great fantasy, and like even like picking up this book now, like this like Natural History of Dragons book is showing me how much I need a good fantasy. So I did make a purchase and I bought Rhythm of War. Yeah, I bought Rhythm of War. I'm so excited to read it. I don't really remember what happened in the last book super well. I'm hoping Mr. Brando Sando will do a little bit of a recap for me, because I can't exactly remember, but it's like a 1,200 page book, so I'm sure there'll be a recap. So that's coming Saturday, but I don't know if I'll read it Saturday. I might be busy. So that's the plan. I'm gonna, after I finish A Natural History of Dragons, which I'm either gonna finish today or early tomorrow, I want to start Rabbit Hutch because I have it and I want to read it. And then I don't know what I'm gonna read after that, because I think I could read another book before I get Rhythm of War on Saturday. So we will see what that is, what that ends up being. I'm just like making a little bit of a plan. I'm adjusting my plan and making more of a plan, because like A Natural History of Dragons wasn't in my plan. I'm a planner, but like not when it comes to my reading. Okay, so I'm gonna get back to reading A Natural History of Dragons, and hopefully the second half is better than the first. I'm really bored. So I will check in with you probably when I finish this book, or in the B-roll. Okay, so I've been in the B-roll mostly. I've only been in the B-roll because yesterday I didn't read after I updated you, and I went to the nuts factory. I wanted peanut brittle. I got cashew brittle, which I didn't know was a thing, but it was fine. It was fine. It's not the best. It's like fine. I'm here with Hilda. Say hi. Okay. I decided, because I was doing little planning bits for the channel, as I do all the time, and it's like the last day of the month, so I was like, I should plan August, maybe. I should figure out what videos I'm gonna make. And I was like, oh, perfect time to listen to an audiobook. I could pop in my audiobook for A Natural History of Dragons. And then I was like, you know what, I would rather listen to music, and I think it's a sign. If I would rather listen to music than listen to my audiobook, I probably don't want to read that book, so I DNF that book. Yeah, not reading it, not finishing it, absolutely not, no. Like, it was fine. There's like a gnat. Hello? Okay, fine. Like, it wasn't the worst book I've ever read, but like, did I have any desire to keep reading it? No, but there were pictures, and like, I am like a child. Like, I love an illustration. It really just like warms my heart and soul, but it just like, even the pictures, it didn't help. So I DNF'd that book, and instead, as you saw in the B-roll, I started The Rabbit Hutch, and I'm so confused. I am so confused. I'm like 100 pages in, 96 pages in, and this is so darn confusing. I'm gonna try to like explain it to you, but I'm not sure like how sober my explanation of this is gonna sound, and I'm completely sober right now. So, okay, so this is about, like, does it have a description? So this is about a bunch of people living in this one apartment building called the Rabbit Hutch, and we just follow all the different, like, a bunch of different characters that are all living in this building. That's like the gist. But like, it's so bizarre. Like, it is so, like, that's the best way I could describe it. It's so bizarre. Like, we have like one character who's like, she's like 18 and her name's Blandine, and she wants to like transcend. She wants to like leave her body, and she's like talking about all these theories, and we're not theories. Me calling religion a theory. Whoops. Anyway, she's like talking about all this like religious stuff of like people like sweating blood and like all this stuff, and she just wants to like transcend and leave her body and like whatever. And she's like very like manic pixie dream girl. So like there's this other group of like guys who are like obsessed with her, and they like really want to get her attention. So it's like about them too, but it's also about like this one like 40-year-old woman that she interacts with who works at this like obituary website, and it's about the person that she just wrote an obituary about, who actually wrote her own obituary, and it's about that woman's son who also lives in the building, and he's going to travel with that obituary, and he also like stalks people. It's crazy. Like, ooh, are there pictures? Guys, there's pictures. Wait, now I want to read this book. Oh my god, there's so many pictures. That's so crazy. There's like a whole chapter of pictures, but it's written really interestingly because like there's this like, obviously these like chapters like keep switching POV, but there's also like these other chapters that are like articles or like comment sections, and like it's interesting. It's very easy to read, but not exactly easy to understand. Like, I don't know what the fuck I'm reading or what the point of any of it is because it seems so like disjointed and not necessarily connected. Like, I'm reading this chapter right now, and I stopped like in the middle of the chapter, which I don't normally do, because I was just like, what am I reading? Like, I was like, what is going on in this chapter? Who are these characters? What is their relationship? Where is this going? And yeah, I just got really confused. Maybe I'm just like stupid, and that's like a conclusion I come to sometimes when I read books. I'm not the brightest bulb out there. I'm gonna keep giving it a go. I usually try to give books like till the like 150 page-ish mark, decide whether I want to finish them. But the whole chapter of pictures is really intriguing to me. So I do kind of want to get there. Yeah, I just don't know what the point of it is yet, or like what it's necessarily trying to say. and maybe it's not trying to say anything. Like I know as a literary major, I'm always reading into things, but I do also love not reading into things and like letting them be. But like, I don't know what this is. Hilda is like sniffing the camera right now. So I have a bit of a sad update for you. Yes, it is true. The rumors are true. I DNF'd another book. I DNF'd The Rabbit Hutch, which I already put over there in my pile to go return to the library sometime this week. I think I'm going Saturday, actually. Oh yeah, because the library book sale is Saturday. Come here. Come here. Come here. Say hi. Oh, I don't know. Like, I was happy enough that like something started making sense in the book, and I was like, oh, okay, we're getting backstory, we're getting character development, we're getting things. But then like, it still was so like disjointed and like confusing that I was like, I don't want to be reading this book. It's not that serious. It's really not that serious. I'm just a silly little girl reading books. Like, anyway, I am going to start a new book. Fingers crossed it's good this time. I'm a little nervous, but I'm also like, this might be more of the vibe. So like, obviously I read Powerless, and I feel like Powerless did kind of put me in this like reading slump because it was so good. And it was like exactly what I wanted at the time. And I'm like, okay, maybe I should go for more of that vibe. So like, you know, like the strictly fantasy, that wasn't the vibe. The literary fiction wasn't the vibe. I should just go back to my roots and go to a romantic, because that's what worked. So maybe it will work again. So I'm going to pick up, I have the ebook. Y'all, when was the last time I bought a book? I'm going to be reading Once Upon a Broken Heart, which I am nervous and excited to read because I have been like putting this off. This is by Stephanie Garber, and I didn't like her other series, Caraval. I thought her like writing and characters and stuff like just weren't my vibe, and I just thought the characters were annoying. But this is like her newest series, and it is finished, like it's a trilogy, I believe. And I've just like heard really good things about it. And do I remember what it's about? Not really. I remember the main character has pink hair, and like we've all been there, so like I can relate. I just know it's fantasy romance, and if this doesn't work, I had a very boring day so far today. It's like 100 million degrees outside, so my walk to the post office was very scary because it was so hot. But I am gonna start this book in the nice, okay girl, yeah, you take your time, girl. Oh my god, guys, I have a book haul. I kind of forgot. I was like, oh, I'm just gonna do a little update. And I did in fact forget that I went to a book sale this morning. I still want to film one of those like come book shopping with me types of videos because I think they're fun. But when I tell you it was so chaotic at the library book sale this morning, it was Hunger Games style. It was like literally like you see a book, you grab it. Like, so I got 3 books. And I also got some books from the library, of course. So we have a little cute, cheeky little book haul. Okay, so the books that I got from the book sale, I spent $3, I got 3 books. I got this edition of The Catcher in the Rye because I am in fact a teenage boy. I love The Catcher in the Rye, and I've never seen this edition before. It has a postcard in it. Guys, where's this postcard from? Let's all take a journey together. This is from San Francisco. It's not filled out, but I have a San Francisco postcard. How friggin' neat is that? I'm gonna put this on my wall. Wait, that's so cool. This edition of this book, it's yellowed. The pages are yellowed, which either means they didn't store it properly or it's old. Okay, this edition came out in 1991, if I'm reading it correctly. You know what? One thing I was taught in college is how to read the inside of a book. So I think this came out in 1991, but I've never seen this edition before, and I do love The Catcher in the Rye. So I bought it. It was $1. Anyway, I found 2 Ella Montgomery books there, which are not Anne books, but even though I collect Anne books, these are the Emily books. We have Emily of New Moon and Emily's Quest. I believe Emily of New Moon is the first one. Oh, no. It's Emily of New Moon, Emily Climbs, and then Emily's Quest. So books 1 and 3. I collect all Montgomery books, pretty much. The book that has her nom de plume on it, I buy, pretty much. And I didn't have these ones. I think I do have an Emily one. Have I read it? Oh no, I read Blue Castle. That's a different book. I got dumped when I read that book, now that I recall. Okay, and then I got some more books at the library. So I picked up another Haruki Murakami book because I was like, if I'm not gonna read one, I might as well not read another. And I got Hardboiled Wonderland and The End of the World because I am actually getting the audiobook from this. I'm not sure which audiobook, Kafka on the Shore or Hardboiled Wonderland, is gonna come in first. So I figured I should be ready and have both. So then I got Either Or. This is the author of The Idiot, and I really want to read The Idiot because I really think I'm gonna like The Idiot. This is not The Idiot, but I don't know what it is. I think it's just like another literary fiction, TBH. So sounds fun. Sounds up my alley. Binding is coming apart, and it wasn't my favorite. And the last book I got was We Ride Upon Sticks because I have heard Books and Lola talk about this for a while. There's a map. Shocking. Shocking and appalling. This is supposed to be like a weird book. And I love weird books. I love a weird book. So I'm excited to read that. For my reading update, I am a little over 50% into Once Upon a Broken Heart. I'm loving this book. It has so many things I love about books. I love a curse, I love a prophecy, and it has both of those things. So if you don't know what this is about a girl named Evangeline Fox. And now, what if I told you Evangeline is my favorite name in the world? I think she has that going for her. Like, I love that name. It is my favorite name. Evangeline Fox, a little while ago, she fell in love with this guy. But the guy was betrothed to her stepsister. Evil stepsister vibes. And she was like, how can he do that? He loves me. And so she tried to get him to stop doing that and love her back. And through that, she went to a fate. And fates are like notoriously mischievous little guys. They're kind of like fae. Pretty much, because they're like that kind of vibe. Goes to this guy named Jax. She's like, help me, and he turns them all to stone, and then she gets turned to stone for like hot 6 months. And eventually she comes out of it, but now she's cursed, and now she owes the fate, Jax, she owes him 3 kisses. 3 kisses. Yeah, he's come to collect. This is about her like doing these little kisses for him, which sounds so silly, and it is really silly. It's really fun. I think it's like a fun little like, ooh, like the stakes are fun, I think. So I'm enjoying it. I would say I'm enjoying it. It has a very like fairy tale like quality to it. There's lots of talks about fairy tales, but there's just like a lot of like lore in this world, which I think is really cool and neat, and it just kind of feels like Cinderella-y to me. But I am really enjoying it, and I'll probably read some more of that today because I do want to finish it this week so that I can start a little book that you know I have coming in the mail. A little book that I have coming in the mail, some might call Rhythm of War, because I want to start that next week. So I do want to finish it either today or tomorrow. But yeah, that's my book haul, library haul, reading update. I am gonna make macarons today. If they turn out well, I'll put a clip in. That's about it. That's all the updates for now. So I will talk to you later. Hello friends, it is, am I washed out? Hello friends, it is 8:30. It's a later update than I normally do. I am in my pajamas. Did not bake today. I might make focaccia tomorrow, or if I don't make focaccia, I'll probably make pancakes. I want to bake something. I just don't know if I have enough flour for both. So we'll see. I finished Once Upon a Broken Heart. I'm giving it 4 out of 5 stars. I really liked it. I liked the twists and the turns. There's a bit of a mystery going on in this book, at least in the second half. It didn't follow, it didn't follow like a plot I was expecting, which I really enjoyed. Like, it wasn't super predictable. My cat is climbing the walls. Okay. Me too, girl. But yeah, it wasn't super predictable. It wasn't what I expected to like happen in the plot. Some like interesting turns and stuff, and I did enjoy that. There were like magical like things to discover about the magic system and magical creatures and stuff like that, and that was really fun. So I really enjoyed it. I gave 4 stars. But one thing I realized, well, one thing I have to show you is her. She is here, she is the moment. I got this book, it's the highlight of my day. Basically decided that I'm gonna read this book next week. Monday next week, it will be in next week's vlog. But I forgot that there's a novella in between this book, or in between the last book and this book, called Dawn Shard. So that's gonna be the next book I pick up, because I have to read this book, because I think it introduces a character that's in this book, because there are 100 different perspectives in this book. I'm a little nervous to get back into this, but I do know how freaking talented Brandon Sanderson is, that he is able to get my pea-sized brain to comprehend this like amazing fucking imaginative world that like I would never. I could honestly never. I'm excited to be back with these characters. I think I said I don't know who the novella is following, but I honestly don't really remember what happened in the last book. Hopefully Dawn Shard will be like interesting. I don't know about the novellas, because the other one I read, Edge Dancer, was like fine, but that's my thoughts. There isn't a novella in between Rhythm of War and Wind of Truth, which comes out in December, which I'm kind of curious about, because there's been one in between the last two books. Hopefully that means there's no new perspectives. I'm very excited for Wind of Truth to come out, but I'm like surprised there's no cover yet for a December release. The fact that there's no cover and it's August worries me. Anyway, that's just publishing tea for you. I watched Newsies. Okay, so I watched The Sound of Music. I watched it in 2 parts because it's a long ass movie. It's 3 hours long. But I watched the latter half of The Sound of Music yesterday. And all I'm doing is singing Edelweiss. Edelweiss. And naturally, I was like, what other movie musicals could I watch? And I did in fact watch Newsies. It was in the B-roll, but I feel like I need to mention it. So I finished watching Newsies today. I watched half of it yesterday. I watched half of it today. I love Newsies. I'm the king of New York. You know, like, what can I say? Movie musicals are just so good. They're the best. I have finished another book. I had such a chill, it's like 3:30. I was gonna say, I've had such a chill day. I really have, like, this has been the most max and relaxing I've had a Sunday in a really long time. And not to say that this week has been particularly busy or stressful, it hasn't been, but I really took it easy today. I like hung out in my robe and read this book. Let's talk about Dawn Shard. So I finished Dawn Shard and I read it all in like one sitting pretty much. It's a short book, it's like a novella, so I can't tell you much about this book because it's like the 5th book in a series. Is a novella in between the 3rd and 4th books of The Way of Kings, so I can't really tell you anything about it. But I will say something I really enjoyed about this book. I gave it 4 stars because I don't think it was perfect, but I think it was good. So something I really enjoyed about this book, which I don't know if it's necessarily because I've been reading more like YA fantasy or like powerless YA or new adult, that kind of realm, but the characters in Brandon Sanderson books are just so smart. Like, they're like, I feel like all the time I've been reading books and like the characters are so fucking dumb. And I'm like, don't do that, stop making these stupid mistakes. And in like Brandon Sanderson books, no, they're like really crafty and they figure shit out. And I really like that about his books, because like I have like respect for these characters and I have like faith in them and that they're gonna like solve their problems and figure stuff out. So I really like it about Brandon Sanderson's characters, because like this book follows like but it's mostly like 2 different perspectives from these characters that we were introduced to in the earlier books. But I don't know, they weren't like the most interesting characters to me until I read this novella. Like, I wouldn't have been like invested in their journeys or their lives before reading this novella, but I did really like come to like know them and like them a lot by reading this novella. And I liked that it was different from the other little novella, which is Edge Dancer, because that one's just following one perspective and it's like a younger character and she's kind of annoying. She's fun, but she's a little annoying. But this one had like different characters, and I liked how like Brandon Sanderson is tackling like real world things in a fantasy setting. Like, I have like the smallest pea-sized little brain, and like I would never be able to write something like this. I'm so baffled by how he's created this like amazingly intricate world and magic system and like just politics and just everything that's like in these books. And I was like, even in this short novella, there's so much like lore. Like, so it's really like incredible to me. But I don't know, it's really interesting and I really liked it, so I gave it 4 stars. I think I'm not gonna read any more today because, as we all know, I want to start Rhythm of War tomorrow in my next vlog. But I am thinking that since I'm going to be back to doing my weekly reading vlogs, they're all gonna go up on Wednesdays, hopefully now, which is gonna be my new schedule for time being. We'll see. I have to reteach my algorithm what kind of videos I make, and I have to learn what kind of videos I make as well, because I don't know at this point. Identity crisis has set in. But I would love if you left some questions in the comments down below for me to answer when I'm done doing my readings for the week and in these little like Sunday portions of the video, because I think that would be fun. I might do like a community post to do that as well, because I think that would be really fun.